the portfolio. So Mohammed.
Hey, thank you, Muna. Thanks a lot for your help and support. And thanks a lot for everyone's attendance to that session. Hopefully it will be fruitful, and by the end of the day, we can come back and receive and collect the orders. So my name is Mohammed Hussein. I'm the Sales and Marketing Director for SPECTRO Systems, and I have my colleague here, Nardeen Farah. She's our Marketing Product Manager for our SPECTRO COLD solution. Today, we will hijack your time for about an hour, whereby we can introduce SPECTRO and what does SPECTRO do in the market, and why is it a good thing to partner with companies stepping into industrial IoT market. I'd like to start with good day for everyone. I know we're coming from different regions. Some people it's already afternoon, and some others are starting the day. And please, as Mona said, feel free to ask all the questions that you need towards the end, because some of the slides might be answering all the questions you'd like to explore. And I'll be happy to answer. Both myself and my colleague Nardeen will be happy to answer all the questions that will come up. Also from my team, there's also Mustafa Medhat. He's our territory channel manager for Asia. And we have Yasmin Shams. She's our territory channel manager for Africa. So both valued team members will be the ones who will be exploring all the business potential and growing the business hand in hand with our partners through siting distributorship. So I believe we're good to go, and we can start now. The purpose of our presentation, as I said, is to introduce SPECTRO portfolio. But before introducing SPECTRO portfolio, we need to understand what SPECTRO does. What is industrial IoT? I believe most of the partners who are honoring us with their existence today are coming from unified communication, unified collaboration background, IP telephony background, networking infrastructure, IT. Myself, I'm coming from almost 25 years of unified communication and collaboration. Before that was video conferencing only. So it's kind of a new market that we are tackling right now. And we need to understand why this market is creating this buzz in the world, and why it's good to tackle this market and try to grab the revenue portion that we can before it turns into a crowded market, as it is in most of the technologies as we are experiencing right now. So basically, all of us are coming from this time where internet, we used to exchange data to connect people. We are having all the software platforms, all the communication platforms, the IP telephony, the unified collaboration, communication, video conferencing. All this was happening at some limited speeds, growing from 2G to 3G to 4G. And then all of a sudden, there come the IoT got introduced. And by the IoT, the Internet of Things get introduced, it came along with the fourth technical revolution, whereby sensors stepped in to gather data and start communicating this data to some platforms that help people connect things instead of connecting people together. And with the introduction of the 5G as high speed and more long-range communication solutions and high-speed communication solutions, this industry became so crucial to the market, whereby a lot of providers start introducing solutions to help the IoT market. The pioneers of this industry looked at the solution and realized that it has to be falling into one of four categories. So the solution, in order to be realized as an IoT solution, it should be either problem solving or life enhancing solution, or a business developing solution, or a cost reduction solution. Other than that, it can fall into the regular IoT, recreational part of it, entertainment part of it, lifestyle part of it, but not as part of the industrial IoT. It's a very interesting market, and a lot of analytical houses has provided data that make one realize how this market is so big and has to be tackled. For example, if you look at IDC, They estimate that there will be 41.6 billion connected IoT device or thing by 2025. And these devices can be your mobile phone, your smartwatch, your tablet, your PC. It can be your AC, your fridge, your washing machine, your car, your industrial machine, your crane in the construction site. It can be any device that can send data to the internet. And according to McKinsey Global Institute, they are anticipating an economic drive of $11 trillion year by year till we reach 2025. And this is a huge market compared to the world GDP. There's a huge economic impact that should take the world by storm if we do the correct action towards introducing these solutions to the market. These solutions tackle everywhere and it touches every part of our life. You can look at the screen and you find 10 vertical markets, but these are not only the vertical markets that make use of industrial IoT. Smart cities, connected buildings, connected cars, smart supply chain, smart hospitality, agriculture, health, industrial. And even I can add on top of my head for those ones, you can look at education, you can look at security, you can look at military. So a lot of verticals can be making benefit out of this IoT revolution. And each one has its own specific parameters to be sensed and specific parameters to be tackled and sent to the internet. And what's most important is not only sending those parameters, but getting the analytics behind those information. And as I said again, it turned this analytics into a business developing solution or life enhancing solution or cost reduction solution or a problem solving solution. If we look at the geographical distribution of IoT market, the adoption is very, very weak when it comes to Asia and Middle East. According to this study, 45% of the market adoption is coming from the US, 35% is coming from Europe, and 16% only is coming from Asia. And then the Middle East and Africa are constituting very low value that not even considered on the graph from a percentage perspective. So this tells that this market is still premature and this market still have a room for development, a room for grabbing business opportunities, and a room for growth as well. So according to the analysts from a verified research market website, the people are looking at the growth rate of the IoT market to reach 25.68 year to year till we reach $1,319 billion by 2026. Again, this is a market that we need to keep an eye on and understand how this market is growing and how this growth will impact other industries that we are selling our solutions to. When you look at the IoT solution and how it's tailored and what are the components involved and who are the solution providers involved in providing those solutions, you'll find that there are so many elements that has to be considered. So the IoT solution, basically, we're talking about sensors that has a certain and specific function to gather some data and start sending these data through a device module and send this data to a platform whereby the analytics takes place, and then the user can start viewing all the information, the analysis and the reports and the alerts through any device of his choice, whether it's his PC or his smartphone, depending on the nature of the user, whether it's someone on the field or someone sitting at the office or maybe a high-level executive. And for system integrators to be able to provide solution for this market, they need to deal with number of component providers, I can say. So first we have the device provider, the companies that manufacture the sensors itself. And then we have the module maker. These are the companies who provide the communication device or the device responsible for gathering the info from the sensor and sending this to the internet. And then they have to deal with the connectivity provider, whereby the device is connected to the internet over GSM or over Wi-Fi or over LoRa. So many communication ways and methods can be tackled here. And then the data is connected to the middleware provider, whereby the data is intercepted, analyzed, arranged in a proper database interface, and then from this middleware provider, it goes to the application provider, where the one who create the application, the front-end web platform or the web interface, whereby the user or the customer can visualize this data and make use of the reports and analytics. So all these components are very important and very crucial to have a solution. But the integrated life will be way easier if there is an end-to-end solution provider who can provide all these elements and from end-to-end perspective and be a focal point of contact to that integrator and focal point to the market to deliver these solutions. When we looked at the market, we found that from this perspective of the end-to-end solution provider, the market was completely underserved. We found that there is a lot of industrial IoT challenges that we have to tackle before stepping in as Spectro. The market was completely underserved, comparing the number of solution providers, real solution providers, compared to the number of providers in the IT business or in the storage business or in the data center business, whatever you can name it, communication business. The number of industrial IoT solution providers is very limited, and the number of end-to-end solution providers is even less. There was another challenge which is the sensor design itself. We found that even there are some companies who are introducing end-to-end solutions, but their sensors are limited from modularity perspective. They are very rigid from design perspective, whereby you can find a sensor that can measure number of parameters and that's it. You cannot add or remove from that sensor device any component, and this limits these solutions to specific use cases and specific customer experience, and is not flexible to offer business value to the customer adopting these solutions. And we found that there is a very less or limited number of business analytics. So most of the companies who are providing industrial IT solutions are in the business of providing readings. They can provide you with readings of the temperature, of the humidity. They can provide you with readings on the level of waste in a waste bin, or the reading of the quality of water in an environment enhancement solution. But after providing those readings, there is no real business analysis that tackles or uses these readings and provide the enhanced reports that help the customer decide what to do after getting those readings. What are the next step? What is the action that has to be taken? Afterwards, there's nobody is providing these kind of analytics. And actually, when we looked at the market, we found that the providers or the manufacturers or the vendors are split between two categories. Either they are very much concerned with hardware, whereby they manufacture their devices, their sensors, and they leave the software part or the platform part, which is the most important part to the customer, to any third party. So they ask the customer to go to any of the providers of IoT platform like Cisco or like SAP or Bosch, Schneider Electric. Any of those providers can provide the software platform. And the second type of the providers is those who provide the software platform, the software application, and they're so much agnostic when it comes to the sensor, and they ask the customer to go and bring the sensor himself. They depend on the standard protocols that the sensors use to communicate data, and they are willing to do the development to host any sensor. But in this sense, depending on third parties, provide a lot of problems. Speaking of that, I don't know if any of you noticed that, but Cisco, after so many years providing Cisco Kinetic IoT platform, they stopped offering this as end of sale, and they're not offering this to their customers anymore. Imagine if you're a customer your business is depending totally on that software platform. Now you have the sensors in the field, but you don't have any software platform, and you need to search again for another software platform. And this is where the role of an end-to-end solution provider comes, because you are sure that you're working with a provider who owns both solution components, the hardware part and the software part, along with the cloud platform itself. And this is where Spectro comes in. So who's Spectro? SPECTRO is a leading international IoT vendor. We're specialized in industrial IoT, and we are end-to-end industrial IoT solution provider. We're an Emirati company. We're established in DMCC in UAE, and 70% of our team force is mainly in R&D, in hardware R&D and software development. So we manufacture our own sensors, our own communication devices, and we in-house developed our own software platform that hosts all the data and provide all the analytics and the reports to the customer. Though the market is relatively new, but SPECTRO is rooted into industrial IoT 6 years back. We've been developing those solutions, listening to customers, enhancing our solutions. So our solutions introduced to the market right now are a byproduct of years of experience, years of interaction, and installed devices for testing in so many locations. Our head office is in UAE, and we have support offices right now in Egypt and in Sudan, and we are expanding regionally through a number of consultancy offices, and soon enough we'll be opening our point of presence offices in East Europe and in Canada. So hopefully this will be an announcement that should take place maybe after 2 quarters or something like that. As I said, we've been rooted in technology so many years back, to the extent that from the announcement of SPECTRO, we initially got the attention of esteemed customers. Right now we have more than 8,000 sensors installed and sending data to our platform. And those sensors are installed at some good reputed customers from the mobile network operator side, or from the government side, or from the FMCG side. So right now our sensors are installed in Zain Group in North Sudan and South Sudan, with Dubai Health Authority and Dubai Municipality in UAE, with Etisalat in UAE, Telenor, which is the Nordic mobile network operator, operating between Norway, Scandinavia, including Sweden, Finland, Denmark, and they have operation as well in Far East. We have solutions installed in Ooredoo Group in Asia Cell, Iraq, and in Bright Foods in Egypt. So though we don't have much time as SPECTRO in the market, we almost 1 year back announced the company establishing in UAE, but we got the attention and we got reoccurring business from those customers. And we decided to step into the market with some key differentiations that make sure that we cover all the challenges that we discussed before. So as I said before, and I'm insisting again on that point, which is that we are end-to-end solution development, and we provide an off-shelf standard-based product, so we don't crack the head of our partners or our customers to keep mixing and matching and try to tailor the solution. So we create solutions that are off-shelf, but with variable and multiple measurement factors that make it fit for multiple use cases and multiple user scenarios. Without the need for special tailoring. We address multiple product verticals, and we have variant product verticals to tackle. So the partners who are connected with SPECTRO solutions are not stuck with one single vertical industry, like for example, a partnership for AVL that tackles the fleet management solutions, or a solution for greenhouses, which is agriculture based vertical, and nothing else. No, we try to make our solutions variant enough so that the benefit coming out of generating the revenue from these solutions can be touched and sensed by the partner. We have diverse customer use cases, and the most important thing for us is that we are channel-driven company. So we will never sell our product directly. The main point for us is to tie up with professional partners and professional distributors who can drive the business and take the support from SPECTRO technical and R&D team in order to shape the market and impact the market and generate amount of business that is lucrative enough to grow more and more year to year. As I said before, we have global sales and support reach. So we have, right now, because we established in Middle East, we have our customers in Middle East, Africa. However, right now we have solutions installed in Myanmar, in Far East, in Bangladesh and Indonesia. Right now there are some business under development there. We have development for business in East Europe, in Ukraine, Czech Republic and Russia. And we have business development in Canada. So we have an expanded reach. whereby we keep enriching our solution and start developing more solution that is market sensitive. And doing this, we have a very strong alliance ecosystem with companies like SAP, Cisco, and Microsoft, whereby they are providing the vehicle to introduce our solutions to their customers. They believe in us, and they have tested our solution in multiple events, whereby they start considering SPECTRO as one of the key IoT solution providers within their portfolios. And last but not least, we found that it's very important for us to have our responsibility towards education. So we are tied with a number of renowned universities in order to help the university staff, the undergrads and the postgrads, to develop more IoT solutions and more IoT ideas that help the market. When we start positioning our solutions, we decided that we should be always at the very top quadrant of technicality. So our solution is using the best, I'm confident to say the best electronic components, and we are keeping our technical value to the topmost high quadrant. But meanwhile, we keep our prices in the mid-range. So we are not into providing a low-priced, low-end hardware device and low-end platform that provide only reading, because this is not our business. And still, our prices are affordable for customers to realize a strong and effective ROI. And you can see this after watching our solution presentation. So why I keep insisting on end-to-end? So why it's end-to-end? Having a full control on your solution elements, the software component and hardware component, provide a proper edge to SPECTRO and by default SPECTRO partners to the market. So when you face competition, you need to make sure from hardware perspective that you have price element control. You're not stuck with a third party who's providing you with a sensor that is high in price, and you cannot play around that price and play on the components of that price. So having our R&D, and we develop our sensor elements and device elements inside SPECTRO, we have a complete control on what component we should add into the device in order to impact its price. And saying so, we have full control on the modularity of our solution. We have a modular design that provides wider use case variety. We can have a component added to the solution. We have components that can be taken out of the solution based on the use case and based on the customer requirement. And doing so, we are producing products that are very market sensitive. What fits for Europe does not fit for Africa, and what fits for Asia does not fit for Canada, for example. So having a market-sensitive product with multiple thresholds that fits each market and multiple price ranges that fits every market is one of the key benefits of having an end-to-end solution control. From software perspective, the same kicks in. So when we develop our own software, we're not stuck with a company that provides only cloud software platform. We have the flexibility to offer our solution on cloud hosting or on-prem deployment. A lot of countries are still not ready for hosting sensitive data on the cloud. And this is causing a lot of problem to customers who have been dealing with IoT platform coming from companies like Cisco or SAP that has only cloud, doesn't have on-prem deployment. Or even if they decide to go on-prem deployment, they charge huge amount of money in order to do this exception. So flexible offering is one of the benefits of having an end-to-end solution providing. We have multiple SLA models. We provide multiple support levels from partner side and from SPECTRO side. And we have created also our enterprise service bus, our solution and our catalog that contains all our APIs and allows our partners and our customers to integrate our solution with multiple platforms in the market. So definitely, when a customer starts using industrial IoT, he will never alienate himself from the existing ERP or CRM or building management system or telemetry system or SCADA system that he's using in his own industry. And he needs to have a full integration between this IoT, this industrial IoT platform, and those solutions. And this is, again, one of the edges that we have because we're in-house developing our solution. We have our own enterprise service bus whereby the customer or the partner or even SPECTRO can be subcontracted for this and provide this kind of integration. Our platform is multi-tenant platform, so we care much for the data and the data sensitivity, and make sure that each customer has visibility and access only for the data that is related to his business, and there is no mix and match in data, and data security is not exposed by any means. And we have adaptive interface whereby, as I said, different types of end users within each customer can access our platform. So from people in the field using their mobile phones and their tablets, to admins using their computers, to the top executives who would like to see a helicopter view of the network that is installed from any device on the go or at the office. This is again part of our edge as an in-house solution developer. So, saying so, we have right now 3 ready-made solutions available for sale in the market. They are problem-solving solutions and they are cost reduction solutions. They have very strong impact on the businesses that they are tackling. And if I can give you a brief, definitely down the presentation, there will be a detailed presentation on SPECTRO TANK and SPECTRO COLD. But let me give you a quick brief on that. SPECTRO TANK is a solution that is concerned about any material level within a tank. So from the name, we take any material, be it liquid, be it solid, be it compressed gas, and we manage to measure the level of that material in the tank, provide the level and the ambient temperature within the tank, and then we provide some analytics that help the customer understand if there is a leakage or a theft challenge, some analytics related to the consumption patterns. So you'll see this down the presentation. The other solution is SPECTRO COLD, and SPECTRO COLD, from its name, is dealing with any product that is sensitive to temperature and humidity. So any product in various markets like FMCG or pharmaceutical industries or cosmetic industries or agriculture, these markets have products that are sensitive for temperature and humidity. So we measure and provide the data from the coolers that contain these products or the storerooms that contain these products. And by the analytics that we provide and the reports we provide, we manage to decrease the industry losses and the product and asset losses due to theft challenges that happen in some markets. And we have our advanced analytics that help also the customer to understand the health of its machine and the status of its machine. So we understand whether the cooler is powered on or powered off, whether the compressor health is working fine according to the standard of the provider of that compressor, or it requires some kind of maintenance, and so on. The third solution is SPECTRO Power, and SPECTRO Power is a very vertical specific solution that addresses the electricity or power distribution companies in each country, whereby we provide a complete visibility on the district and city transformer oil temperature that can go into very high levels, causing this transformer to explode or to run down and cut down the power from all the area related to that transformer. So we provide this kind of visibility to the customer, to the power distribution companies, as well as providing the power efficiency of that transformer and the amount of power going out and consumed from that transformer. This is a very specific product for a very specific vertical. And in all SPECTRO solutions, you always find this kind of mix and match. We have solutions that work for many verticals, and we have solutions that are very focused and very specific to solve a certain problem in a certain vertical, like SPECTRO Power. In addition to those 3 solutions, we have now 3 other solutions under development. They are now in the beta version, should be kicking in the market by end of Q2 and beginning of Q4. So we have SPECTRO Shelter. Again, this is a solution that is tackling any communication or equipment shelter, whether with mobile network operators or oil and gas companies, any customer that has an outpost location whereby they have their own data center, their own server rooms, they have their own communication equipment shelter. We provide a solution that monitors multiple parameters in this location. SPECTRO Asset is a solution that is dealing with high-end machinery in multiple verticals as well, be it the shipping ports, be it the construction market, be it high-end factories in verticals like in industrial vertical, like in oil and gas or petrochemicals or any kind of industry that depends on high-end machinery. We provide the machine status, the machine location and the machine health based on AI developed engine that can provide insight to the customer on the machine lifetime and whether it requires maintenance or not. And again, another specific vertical product, which is SPECTRO PALM, and this is dedicated only for palm trees in the agricultural market. So this product tackles a specific problem that hits and infects the palm trees, whether they're dates palm or coconut palm or oil palm. This product provides visibility to this kind of infection and allowing the customer to save their assets and save their plantations when deploying such a solution. So saying so, we have three main traits in our solutions, whether the one that are available in the market, the one under development, the one in ideation phase right now. We always make sure that our solutions are flexible, smart, and reliable. Because without the flexibility in the design of the hardware and the platform offering, without being smart in the data provided and the amount of analytics that we provide, and without being reliable from accuracy measurement and from the asset visibility around the clock and the professional support that we provide, this solution will be meaningless. So far, I'm done with SPECTRO introduction, and I would like to leave the floor to my colleague Nardine to start explaining SPECTRO COLD. This is the first solution that we have for today, and then afterwards I will be presenting to you SPECTRO TANK in more details, so let you realize from these presentations what are the vertical markets that should be tackled, what are the benefits that are coming from these solutions in detail, how the solution is built in modular design, and after we finish the presentation, we'll be happy to hear your questions and answer them. So over to you, Nurbi. Thank you.
Thank you, Hussein. Good day, everyone. I'm pleased to be with you today. And for any latecomers, I would like to introduce myself one more time. My name is Nardine Farah, and I'm the Product Marketing Manager for SPECTRO COLD, together with other solutions in our profile. As Hussein introduced SPECTRO, we are really focusing on providing our customers and our partners high-end and very high-quality solutions. So let me first, sorry. So I will take some time to discuss with you and present more information about our SPECTRO COLD. SPECTRO COLD is a very comprehensive end-to-end IoT solution to monitor. The key parameter that we are monitoring is actually temperature and humidity, but we have added more and more modules to our solution to make it as comprehensive as it can be. We have specific modules for monitoring asset location, asset health, service automation, and it's applicable to be installed in both stationary and mobile facilities. So it's applicable to many use cases and verticals, and this makes it very appealing to our customers. Now, when we thought about SPECTRO COLD, we were actually looking at some of the challenges, main challenges that are faced by our customers in the market. So people who are into this type of business, like FMCGs, maybe pharmaceuticals or so on, have a specific number of problems and challenges. Some customers, they suffer from stolen assets. They have like coolers, commercial coolers, or assets that need to be monitored, and these assets sometimes they are stolen. They are taken away by franchising partners, and they cannot recover it anymore. Again, we have the lack of asset visibility is one critical issue and challenge faced by our customers. They would like to see more of their assets. They would like to see the distribution, the locations, the status, the conditions, different and various conditions of their assets, being it coolers, commercial coolers, or even when it comes to stationary assets like warehouses and storage rooms. One other critical point is the temperature management and how to make sure that temperatures don't go below a specific threshold or even beyond the specific threshold. This might be very critical to some products like food products, milk products, even to some vaccines, injections, medicines. The examples are numerous, where temperature is critical, and it might cause lots of losses for the customers and the owners of these products, when temperature is not controlled. Another important issue is unmanaged malfunction for some of the assets. So to protect the products, to protect the temperature, to maintain temperature, we need to make sure that the asset itself, being a cooler or something, is maintained at the perfect health. It's not having any malfunction. The engine is working perfectly fine on the compressor, and so on. And from all these points, we came up with the SPECTRO COLD. Here again, we are, for each and every product that we thought of, we were thinking of the same metrics that apply to all our SPECTRO products, being it flexible, smart, and reliable. And we will see this exactly how this applies to SPECTRO COLD in a few slides. Now, in our architecture, we made sure that in order to resolve all the issues and the problems of our customers, we can provide them with a flexible and multi-module product. We have up to 15 different sensors that can measure different metrics and data sets and telemetry items like temperature, humidity, compressor vibrations, door sensor, GPS location, or accelerometer for movement tracking. These sensors are gathered together in different modules, and we communicate over different types of communication methodologies, like either over Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or even hardwired to our main gateway unit. Our main gateway, in that case, is responsible for carrying out all the processing and the data handling and communicating the data in proper manner over our choice of communication medium like GSM or even Wi-Fi, LoRa, to our SPECTRO IoT platform. In the SPECTRO IoT platform, we have all the processing of and analytics taking place, some of the alerts and some of the insights and numbers that are calculated. They are calculated over in our IoT platform, and they are displayed over our dashboards that can be viewed over laptops, PCs, smartphones, or tablets. So from different points, different viewing points, you can see all the analytics in a very intuitive and user-friendly dashboards that provide you with all the data that you need. This is even a more detailed view of how we architect our solution, the whole solution. I've talked about the different sensors. We have temperature, humidity, door, access, GPS accelerometer, power detection, whether it's on or off, calculation of power consumption based on the EC current, detecting the light level. We have also a service button to automate service requests. We have device tampering sensors to make sure our devices are protected. We have an optional camera to take some photos of the asset and send these over the platform. We have a motion detection, compressor vibration, and compressor health or temperature sensors to provide us with the full view. From connectivity perspective, we are very flexible to deal with the GSM, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, even with LoRa whenever it's needed. So we are up to date, and according to the needs and the requirements of the customer, we can adapt our solution to work with the best connectivity available. From the edge perspective, we talking about our gateway, we have edge computing, edge analytics, dynamic alerts that are fired directly from the device itself, from the gateway. So before even being processed on our platform, we have these are very important features for critical and time-sensitive applications where you need to know exactly at this point, even near real time, when there's an issue like a temperature value or maybe a door left open of your cooler or so. This is actually fired automatically from the edge gateway, so to ensure that there's no lags or latency and that you are aware, you receive the proper alerts at the proper time and take the proper action. From analytics perspective, we show reports, benchmarking, and aggregations of alerts and alarms. We also provide our customers with detailed hierarchy and we can make it divide their assets between different layers, give our customers different user. This is actually part of the people and process management and user management. We can give different users different access and rules to our platform. And as I said before, the customer can view this over different dashboards dedicated for different use cases. They can view reports, extract it, and handle it in many different ways. Now, complementing what we have said, SPECTRO COLD comes in, if we are talking now about specific modules, all that we have said is gathered in 5 different modules. We have the main unit, which is the gateway, that have the main communication modules. We have the locator unit. The locator unit is actually part of the main gateway. This provides the accelerometer, the GPS, and any movement detection. This can be, we have two variations of the gateway. We have gateway that include the locator unit, and one gateway that can be utilized without, if there is no need for GPS and accelerometer, if you don't need to monitor location. So this is where it comes, I mean, the modularity that we have talked about. We have the inference unit. This is specific, it cares about the temperature, humidity, and light. It can have an optional camera in the same sense, and usually it's placed inside the area, being it a cooler or a room or whatever. This is where you need to monitor temperature. We have a separate module for the user interface or the service automation, where you have a service button and an RFID reader to automate, like when you need, for example, when you need to replenish a cooler, you can just press a button, a request will be automatically sent to the system, and whenever products are sent to the cooler, you can diffuse this request with an RFID and get in the exact logs of when the service request was diffused. The last module is the compressor health unit module, and this takes care of the compressor of a cooler whenever it's needed. Of course, this module is optional in case you are monitoring temperature, for instance, in a room or a space. You don't need this module, so that's why it's a separate module for monitoring compressor health through vibrations and temperature and room temperature, and measuring the power consumption. And through this module, you can generate a predictive maintenance report that tells you when your assets are predicted to have malfunctions, if they need to get maintained, or maybe needs a visit from a technician to ensure that the asset is operating at the best health. In our dashboard, as we talked before, this is actually a snapshot of our COLD dashboard, where you can view different data cards showing different metrics. We have alerts for location, for humidity, for temperature. We can view specific details about alarms and the service requests. We can also view the assets grouped in different regions and different hierarchies to make viewing and assessing the data easier when the number of assets scale up to large numbers. We have detailed reports. We have time series, time charts, tracking of location. We have door count charts. So it's a very intuitive, very helpful, and very rich in the data. Our platform is very rich in data that it can give our users, and all types of users can benefit. So those who want to have, like Hussein said, the helicopter view, they have their executive dashboards with fewer data is shown, but with more insightful. And those who are actually monitoring device by device, they can get into the lowest layer of details, where you have all the thresholds, all the configurations, all the readings of a specific device in order to monitor this device, or maybe check its status, check its conditions, and resolve any issues around it. So all the way from high level to the most detailed level of information. Now, providing our customers with such a solution, we have actually we are aiming at solving their challenges. When we talked earlier about the challenges regarding temperature mismanagement, malfunction, and so on, we designed the product to provide maximum benefit to different customers, different business. We have seen how operational efficiency can improve utilizing such a tool. You can automate services, you can automate processes, you can have a better view. You don't send, for instance, you don't have to send a routine maintenance check in case you are sure that the health of your machine is okay and everything is going fine. So you can reduce cost of routine surveys or routine maintenance check. Lots of waste and improvement in the safety of products can happen. You can ensure that, for instance, food products are not damaged by mismanagement of temperature, or medicines or vaccines, temperature sensitive ones. You make sure that they have the highest level of safety. As we talked about the dynamic alerts, you have responsive alerts that keep you on top of your assets. Our customers can be in the light all the time. They have the access to get alerts all the time, so they can resolve issues on spot and take the right and appropriate actions on time, and avoid any losses or issues. Another important benefit to most of our customers is the improved regulatory compliance. So in many entities, like for instance, in our experience with the Dubai Health Authority, like health ministries or health regulatory entities, they are nowadays imposing a necessity for some of the like pharmacies or medical institutes to have their assets and facilities monitored for temperature 24/7, and they provide compliance reports for this. So it's actually our solution fits very well in this need, and it has been implemented in that essence. And for sure, another added benefit to having our SPECTRO COLD is having new visibilities to the assets. So maybe you are not aware of how much your asset is utilized. One cooler and the door is left open for a very long time. You are not sure why the sales of your product as an FMCG customer are dropping down. You are not sure what's the reason. Is it that the light is turned off so customers are not eager to open this specific fridge and take some of the product? Is it that it was powered off for some time, so it was not utilized? You have new visibilities. You can have more insights and enhance your sales and enhance your marketing actions. So it's definitely of benefit in that case. Now, in a nutshell, talking about SPECTRO COLD, how we see it, we provided our customers with lots of features that can fit in different verticals and different use cases: temperature, humidity, location, movement, and compressor, and service automation. So these are the key aspects that we care about, and these actually satisfies the needs of different customers in different verticals, all the way from FMCG, cold chain transportation, hypermarkets and outlets. Even coolers manufacturers are interested in our solution. Definitely the pharmaceutical and the regulatory entities, even in data centers and where server rooms needs to be cooled for a very long time. In order to give you a view of this, we just quickly we can discuss some of the use cases. Maybe some of them are already obvious by now. It's not just when we thought of SPECTRO COLD, it wasn't just stationary coolers or stationary facilities, but we also thought about the moving trucks and vehicles. At some points, the cooler vehicles are under no supervision. No one can view the temperature or make sure that the transported products and goods are in good conditions and temperatures are well maintained. It even might happen that the drivers and their behavior, they abuse They may turn off the car for some time to take a rest along a long trip or road, and you have no way to know what's the issue. You have goods that went bad, they were not maintained in a good condition, and there's no way to understand what's the issue. So even on the go, it's even more important than before. It's not just in the stationary locations, like along with transportation of goods, it's very key and it's very important to monitor temperatures. So this is a very powerful use case, whether the goods being transported are medicines, food, or whatever. Another use case, as we talked about it, the pharmaceuticals, and not just the vaccines. We already know that today it's for some types of COVID-19 vaccines, it's very important to maintain the temperature at very low values, and we are already investigating this solution with and proposing this solution to some of our customers and partners. Not just vaccines, even insulin injections are very temperature sensitive. So worldwide, it's a demand for maintaining the temperature for medicines and pharmaceuticals. Again, we talked about the cold storage, so no need to repeat things here. Also, cold display in supermarkets and outlets is one of our use cases. Data centers, as I referred earlier, is another powerful use case, especially those legacy data centers or server rooms where not the latest technology was implemented during the infrastructure phase. It's important to monitor temperature and humidity in data centers because servers and racks of servers and hardware machines, they diffuse lots of energy, in the form of heat. So this dissipated heat needs to be cooled in a way or another, because otherwise the temperature of the hardware will rise uncontrollably and you will have damages. And the data centers are the hearts of many companies. Many companies now are looking at how to ensure a proper temperature monitoring and control in their data rooms, and it's a very critical use case. So I think that's it regarding SPECTRO COLD. I hope it was a little bit enlightening for all of you. And for any questions, as Hussein said earlier, we will keep it till the end of our presentation to gather all the questions together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nadine. And hope so far. I'm very upset that there's not an interactive presentation. Not that good in non-interactive presentations. But hopefully at the end of the slides, we can have our own discussion and answer all the questions, as Nadine said. Again, I would like to keep thanking you for your time listening, and hope this could be a fruitful introduction of products that help you add new diverse business to your respective portfolios and address challenges in your own markets and create a decent amount of revenue and or non-preceding amounts of revenue from such interesting market. The remaining part of our presentation is related to SPECTRO TANK, whereby we will explain the solution and its benefits and its target vertical markets. A lot of information will be almost the same of SPECTRO COLD, especially in this design sense, modularity sense, and our multiple vertical address. So a lot of information might sound repetitive, so we will try to go quickly through these ones. From SPECTRO TANK perspective, as I mentioned earlier, it's a solution that measures any material level in a tank. So tanks could be of any form or any shape, and the content of those tanks could be of any form or shape. Could be liquid, could be solid. This could be a non-unified form of waste, could be a petrochemical high-density solutions. So any material that is contained within a tank is subject to our SPECTRO TANK solution. Basically, we have ultrasonic sensor that is contactless, and it doesn't touch the material that is measuring. And that's very crucial when you understand the nature of the verticals or adopting this solution, because touching the material might impact the consistency of that material and its readiness and suitability to be consumed in the industrial process that is meant for. So we use ultrasonic sensors that tackles the common size of tanks up to 5 to 6 meters. and we provide different measurements from different types and looks of tanks, be it cylindrical, cubed, spherical, and sometimes we go to multiple setups like master-slave tanks or twin tanks, whereby for some people measuring the level of those tanks is very tough, but from our side it's a much easy case, and this comes from the equation power or the analytical power that we do on the platform that give us this kind of information. So when we stepped into that market, we found a number of challenges, again, that facing the customers in these verticals and required to be solved. So again, our solution always has to be a problem-solving solution. And in the areas that is not solving a problem, at least it's reducing costs. So the first problem that they faced when we tested our solution, we started with the mobile network operators who have been using tanks for diesel to run their outpost sites. So fuel tanks and diesel tanks were subject to theft and tampering. In multiple regions in different countries, we found this as a common challenge, whereby outpost sites that are not monitored, are not guarded, they are subject to people come in and start stealing the fuel or the diesel from those tanks. That was the first challenge. The second challenge is that they have no visibility at all to the material level in the tank, even if there is no theft or leakage. They have no visibility on the material level. And then they discover all of a sudden that the site went down or the machine stopped working because the material in that tank has already gone, and they need to send a refill trip for these locations. And as a countermeasure that those customers started to do, they start sending irregular visits to those locations where there are fuel tanks or diesel tanks or raw material tanks in certain factories to refill, regardless the material is consumed or not. So those trips cost money, the personnel cost money, and the material shipping logistics cost money. And they do it whether they know whether the material is consumed or not, because they have no visibility and they cannot tell when exactly they should be sending those trips. We all understand that consumption varies from time to time and from location to location, but this is not happening as we speak because of the lack of the visibility. The third point, and that's very important, is the leakage of the material. So for all of a sudden, a company that used to consume, for example, 50 liters per hour, find that at the last 3 months, the consumption grew to 75 liters per hour, for example. And they're sure that there is no theft, but they don't understand that there is a leakage. The consumption here can be because of bad machine taking more raw material, can be because of increasing number of users in mobile network operator case, whereby it's consuming a lot of energy to communicate their data and then it's consuming more material, or it can be a leakage in the place. So again, the understanding and the visibility of leakage is not there, and they are exposed to the environmental hazardous impacts of that leakage. Another challenge, the fourth challenge, was the temperature alert. In some locations, especially those who deal with mobile network operator can relate what I'm saying, because a lot of outpost sites in the desert, sometimes they go and explode. And the whole mobile network operator in that area falls down, and they don't understand why. And when they go and visit the site, they found that the site has exploded because of an extreme rise of temperature in the surrounding environment around the fuel in the tank or around the genset, the generator machine. And it resulted in this kind of explosion, and it would have saved them a lot of money and a lot of operational challenges if they have a visibility to this temperature rise gradually and taking action before the problem happens. So out of these main four common problems that we have seen, we created SPECTRO TANK. So again, in all SPECTRO solutions, there will always be the main concern of the sensor set itself, and then the adjacent and additional components added to that solution, using our power of modularity in software and hardware to make benefit maximized out of that solution. So we always make sure that the customer can get the most benefit out of it, either from problem solving or cost reduction, or enhancing even his business and the way he's operating his business. So from SPECTRO TANK perspective, we provide material level, as I said, and temperature monitoring. We detect tampering and we detect theft when it happens, and we provide dynamic alert at the moment theft is happening. It shows on the graph on the dashboard, and it shows as an alert that can be communicated through skill-based routing to a specific person to take a specific action, and or through our enterprise service bus to be integrated with another platform that can trigger actions with police departments or with security gates or with security surveillance cameras that can detect what's going on. We provide from our solution consumption patterns, and consumption patterns are very important because the customer can understand what is the regular and the normal consumption pattern of his machine, of his site that is using the material in the tank, and then any deviation that takes place from that consumption, not necessarily because of theft or leakage, but because of, as I said, more activity taking place, can help the customer define what he needs. If I'm a mobile network operator and I found that the consumption pattern increasing because communication is happening more at certain site, I might consider adding a new BTS to that location, increase the number of stations in that area to cater for the increasing population that is using my services. That could be one of the examples. And then the refill activity analytics. We discovered that theft is not necessarily that people are taking diesel out of the tanks. We found that there is also malpractice happening from tower management companies who make unlawful use of the lack of visibility from the customer side and start offering refilling bills that are not matched to the actual refilling that they do. And this resulted in huge amounts of money. At the end of the presentation, I will share with you a story about one of the customers in South Sudan, and how we, through the refill activity analytics, we managed to provide him with exact details of how much material is refilled, when, and with how much volumes, in order to compare that to the actual to the bills that has been submitted to him. And then from organization perspective, we provide the tank location and the tank zoning, putting in hierarchy that allows the executives to understand what are the tanks and what's their type and where they are installed, in which cities, in which regions, in which countries, and they can divide them into different zones as well, so that we can provide analytics about a city or a country or a zone on its own, not only the complete network, and help them take the proper actions from business perspective to enhance that location. From cost reduction perspective, we reduce the downtime and service trips. So the customer now is not sending, the customer that use SPECTRO solution is not sending regular visits to locations to do the refills or do the maintenance. Now he has a visibility to the complete network and can understand that certain locations are expected to run drained completely at a certain date and time, and he can plan his trips according to the consumption pattern and according to the consumption analytics, and reduce the number of trips that are sent unnecessarily because of lack of visibility. And last but not least is that we're minimizing the environmental hazard. Now, keeping an eye on the rising temperature and the leakage, we managed to help the customer comply with the regulatory environmental thresholds that are set to each country, and help them minimize the impact of environmental hazards from leakage of chemical material into the soil or fuel material that might cause, God forbid, explosions or fires. So talking about all these benefits, when we look at it from market perspective, from vertical market perspective, found that there is a lot of customers that can be tackled in that sense. Definitely the first one for us was the mobile network operator, because those are the ones that we tested the solution with. And not only the mobile network operators, but the telecom tower companies, because if you are in the mobile network operator business, you'll understand that the MNOs started asking telecom tower companies to do the complete deployment management of those towers. And some other telecom tower companies even go to management companies, which is a drill down. So all this market segment can be tackled for diesel operation. And it is a large market. By experience, we found that a deal for that market can grow up to 8,000 or 9,000 sensors. If we're talking about large countries like Iraq or in Far East, where there is large population, you'll find that the solutions can go up to 35,000 monitor tanks. And this is a large deal from industrial IoT perspective. Also, we can tackle the oil and gas tank manufacturers, the gas station suppliers, companies like ExxonMobil, like Total, like you can call any oil and gas company that has tanks, either they're diesel tanks, petrochemical tanks, or underground fuel tanks, gasoline tanks. This can be our target customer. The tank manufacturers themselves can be a target customer, because when you go with an industrial IoT solution, you can always target the end user, or you can target the provider of the machine that is going to the end user. So, for example, the tank manufacturer, instead of offering only tanks to their customers and that's it, and they don't have any additional revenue stream, now they have the option to offer a normal tank and a connected tank, whereby the annual subscription of the platform provide a recurring revenue stream to that customer and put him in a differentiation position among his competitors in the market. Also, one of the verticals is the FMCG manufacturers. Any company that is producing dairy products, doing any consumable beverage, or they use oil as a key element of their production of the FMCG product that they are producing in the market. All these companies that has tanks require to monitor near real time or at real time the levels of the material, of the oil or the milk or the beverage that's consumed from their machines. And this is one of the target customers that we deal with. Pharmaceutical industries, raw material is very expensive in pharmaceutical industries. If you have certain syrups that are consumed in the manufacturing process, and the customer has to make sure that this material is not stolen, is not leaked, and is consumed properly by the manufacturing product line, so that they do not waste such a valuable commodity. And last but not least, also the detergents and the cosmetics. If we can keep thinking, we can keep thinking of multiple verticals in addition to that. If I look, for example, to agricultural market, a lot of farms and plantations are located in remote areas that is not covered by the grid, and they are using diesel generators to generate powers to those farms and plantations. This could be a potential customer, so that they do not run out of diesel. In some countries, they are facing power availability. Some countries in Africa, I can give example in Lebanon, they depend greatly on diesel generators to generate power for the consumers or for the population itself. And the last thing that they need is that they lose control and visibility of that diesel, and all of a sudden they run out of power. So if there's something that is there to make sure that they have the visibility, that would be great. Water tanks in some countries where drinking water is a challenge. Water is a very expensive commodity, and water tanks that get refilled in a periodical manner need to be monitored, so the customer can understand how much water is remaining and when he can ask for additional refill, and he can monitor his refill bills as well. So a lot of verticals will help, will be using our SPECTRO Tank solution and make benefit out of it. In the same manner, cold has been distributed. We have the same manner of sensor that measure things, which in our case is the fluid level and the temperature, and then the communication platform that communicates those data to the edge data analytics, and then the application from the platform side, and then the user roles. So I don't want to repeat this, but again, we follow the same methodology in providing multiple levels of data communication, and we make sure that we get the best out of each stage till it reach the end user. Again, following the same flexibility, smart and reliable. And flexibility in hardware design here, sometimes someone can ask, maybe it's only material level, so where is the flexibility or the modularity in this sense? But we have faced customers in the gasoline industry and the petrochemical industry when they asked us to measure the temperature of the fluid itself, not the environment around it, but the fluid itself. And this, because we are a modular in design, we were able to add temperature measurement probes that can be inserted into the material and provide the material temperature itself. If we are not a modular in design, we wouldn't have been able to address this customer requirement, and this customer would have been fallen into the trap of putting multiple solutions, multiple IoT solutions, in order to get out with the result that he needs. So this is the structure that our solution goes in. So in the middle, this is our SPECTRO TANK sensor. And in this sense, it's different than the one that you have seen in cold. So in cold, it's built on gateway and multiple of probes. In our solution, it's an ultrasonic sensor, whereby the communication module is set inside the sensor itself, but it has the interface to install additional probes like a material temperature, as I said, or maybe a door lock or a gauge lock for a sensor for the tank itself. So these are additional elements that can be attached to that sensor. Basically, we measure the material level and the temperature and communicate that over GSM, over 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, over narrowband IoT, in some cases over LoRa, and we communicate that through this communication medium to our platform on the internet, our hosted cloud platform, or customer deployed on-prem platform. The platform itself is different from the one at Code. So in each product, we have a separate platform. And this is another edge, because when we deal with the companies that provide software platform for IoT solutions, usually it's the same thing. It's only by some adaptations and some widgets, additions or widget removal, and then the look and feel will remain the same. However, we understand from our experience here is that different verticals and different industries require different looks and feels. And in this sense, when we create SPECTRO COLD, we adapted our platform to the look and feel that fits this kind of industry. And when we adapted our SPECTRO TANK, we did a look and feel and information dashboard, information cards that matches this what the customer in this industry would like to look at. So we have the tank dashboard as well. We have the tank information card. We provide the consumption patterns, the dynamic theft alerts. We provide detailed reports per region, per city, per activity, whether it's refill activity or consumption activity. And again, we provide the executive high-level dashboard whereby the decision makers can look at and understand how healthy their network is and whether they need to take an action and direct that action to specific people according to the role. From the reports that we provide maybe 10 or 12 reports in SPECTRO TANK. However, the most important ones that I look at are the low-level reports. That's the most important one that tells the customer that a certain site is going low level or a certain tank is going low level and requires refill. The sudden drop report, which is the one related to the theft, and this what tells the customer that this site has been exposed to sudden drop, and sudden drop will never be a leakage and will never be consumption. It will be only theft. And the site activity report, the exact time and date and amount of refill that takes place or drainage that takes place, that help the customer analyze whether the bills that he's receiving from management companies or from his raw material supplier is proper or not. All our reports can be exported to PDF or Excel so that they can be incorporated into other executive reporting tools. And again, our enterprise service bus help the platform itself to be integrated with other platforms and take the reading from these reports and take the readings from this analysis and inject it into another platform that make different use of what we are offering. So, and again, just to recap, we talked about most of the use cases that we have, but just to recap, so one of the most important one that we realized is the telecom tower tanks. That's a very important one to look at, and it's very lucrative, and it's providing a proper ROI to the customer that make him eager to deploy this solution in a very fast mode. The second one is the pharmaceutical, food and beverage processing companies, whereby they need to monitor the material in the industrial process or the material manufacturing process and the consumption level of those raw materials. The fuel tanks, whether they are fixed fuel tanks or movable fuel tanks, that the fuel transportation network is one of the key customers that can make use of SPECTRO TANK, customer would require to monitor the tank level during the transportation, just to make sure that during the trip there is no malpractice is happening, nobody is stealing, or there is no leakage of the material during the transportation. And this is what I've been telling you about. Our customer in South Sudan, it was in South Sudan, they had two challenging problems, the ones that we already discussed before in the challenges in the market. So they had diesel theft in some of the location, and they have incorrect refill invoices. And when they deployed the POC, we deployed the POC on 5 locations. And it happened that one of those 5 locations was part of the refill billing of the tower management company. And the customer immediately opened the report and started exploring how much material was refilled at that site and comparing that to the refill invoice that came from the management company. And there was a great mismatch of almost, on the overall network, of almost $200,000. And we got the fastest, I can say the fastest order in mobile network operator side. We received the PO in 4 days time. The customer, after realizing this, he rejected the bills to the tower management company, asked for new bills, and the company adhered to that. They did not object, and they provided revised bills. And the difference between the 2 bills allowed the customer to deploy 200 sites and do the subscription for 2 years to have complete visibility on their network. And believe it or not, this customer is renewing his network for the additional 2 years now and rolling out more sites to his network. So this is just an example of what is happening. We have another example in Asia Cell in Iraq. Those guys are running now more than 4,500 sensors and sending this data to the platform in order to understand the consumption patterns and detect any theft happening on the network. And the good thing is that because we are a standard-based company, we managed to even host old sensors that they had before in their network that they got stuck with because of the third-party thing. So they were depending before on a hardware company and a software company, and the software company went out of business. So we helped the customer to host those sensors into our platform, and then we added to the network additional 4,000 sensors now, and it's working. So again, there is benefit that customer can sense immediately with professional ROI provided by SPECTRO team, and we can help the partner with the customer in joint cases, in joint calls, where we can convince the customer with this ROI and make him realize what's the benefit coming out of it. By this, I would like to thank you for your time. I finished all the solution, and I'll be happy to hear any questions that are there. So Muna.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. Thank you all the team for your presentation. Thank you so much. Please, anyone who has a question, please write it down at the chat box.
I see Mr. Muhammad is raising a hand here. Please go ahead. What's your question?
This is Muhammad Abdurrahman from Centrolers. The first of all, I'd like to thank you very much about this great and powerful presentation. Really, you took us to a great journey to the IoT technology. Secondly, I need to ask you some questions. I think SPECTRO TANK has a powerful potential need for all manufacturing sectors, but I have a couple of questions with you. The first one, how can we introduce to our customers this solution, such as, do you have a POC ready already here in Egypt? The second one, the type of safety when using any SPECTRO tank in oil tanks, as using such wireless technology, even when using a very low power technology, may affect it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. The next question: could you provide us a project charter or a feasibility study for previous projects to study it?
Okay.
Okay. The next one: do you have some sort of pre-built dashboards or dashboard already built, or your dashboard already built according to the customer needs? Do you have a pre-built dashboard and you only customize according to customer needs. Okay, the last one, do you provide hands-on training or to our technicians to implement it to our customer, or you will take the whole project and implement it as a turnkey solution? Lastly, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mohammed, for your questions. It's very valuable. Let me answer them quickly in the matter they've been in the way you said them. So first of all, we will be providing you with all the needed material and needed POC equipment in order to tackle the customers. So being a partner with Spectro makes you eligible, or being a partner through Cytec, definitely because Cytec is our value-added distributor in this sense. So we have multiple levels of support. We have a trained team in Cytec that can support you in your POCs, and we have a Spectro team as well. In the countries that we have presence, we'll be able to help you with those hand-in-hand POC deployments. If you're in a country that is not where Spectro is, we'll be able to ship you the POC equipment and provide you with a detailed training. It doesn't take much time. The good thing about Spectro solutions that they are very simple to deploy, very simple to configure. We did the same in Telenor in Myanmar, for example, when we were working with Telenor mobile network operators. We shipped the material and we helped, not even an IT company, it was a tower management company, an energy management company. We managed to transfer the knowledge to them to how to install the POC equipment. And they installed it and the POC went very fine. And we always on top of things when it comes to POC deployment and even on project deployment as well. The second thing is that we do not install by ourselves. We are not the system integrator. So you are the people that should be trained from Spectro side and from Cytec side to have the hardware installation experience and the configuration experience. We help you with provisioning tools and administrative tools that allow you to configure multiple devices. And then we, from our side, we create the customer entity on our platform and onboard those devices and provide you with the credentials for you and for your customer to be able to accessing the platform and making benefit of the solution. Now, since you mentioned it, for oil and gas, we have our solution that is intrinsically safe. So it depends on the material that we are dealing with. If we're dealing with FMCG, who doesn't require intrinsically safe products, we have multiple models of SPECTRO Tank. One of them is SPT 811 and 822. These are intrinsically safe, meant for gasoline and for diesel industries. Another sensors like 733 doesn't require to be intrinsically safe. They're used in less hazardous environments. We have multiple models, and yes, we cater for any specific or special requirement from material side in our SPECTRO Tank solutions. From platform perspective, we have already been, as I said before, we try to be an off-shelf standard-based company. So we have our own Spectro platform dashboard. It's already made. We do not tailor it customer by customer. So it's a cloud-based platform where all the customers getting the same product are visualizing the same dashboard and getting the same reports. But we have different platforms from cold to tank to palm to shelter. It's different platforms, and even with some variations under development right now within SPECTRO COLD, for example. So the fixed models or the movable models or the storage room models will have different interfaces to look at. But we do not customize it per customer, because any customization that takes place in our cloud platform will be accessible by any customer who bought the same thing. So the platform is there, but it's comprehensible enough that fits all. If there is anything that is require adaptation, though, because we have the power of development, we can, in a certain project, depend on the project importance and how crucial it is, we can have customer requests that can be developed especially for a customer and be deployed either on-prem or on a special edition of the platform. But this is a chargeable time and material and efforts that can be done, and it's a project-by-project case. I believe I answered all your questions. Is there still any question? Muhammad, are you still there?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You covered all of our questions.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
what we care for is that we need as much as partners that get interested into that, tie up with Cytec and start exploring each POC and each project tackling with Spectro and Cytec team and realize the benefit out of it. So any questions from anybody else? Mona, anybody type the question or anything?
I think Muhammad Abdulrahman was having a question.
No, all questions are with us, Andrea.
Perfect. Any other question?
I don't see any conversations opened here with any questions. So
I think everything was very clear. Thank you so much.
So since everybody is comfortable with the solution, I believe it's time that we can collect orders. So I'm open, I'm ready. It can be communicated. You can send POs as you want. If there is no POs right now, we can wait till tomorrow. But I believe that it's very important that we put hand in hand together with our regional channel managers, Mustafa and Yasmin. We need to have the interested partners to start immediately understanding our solution. We'll share the presentation collaterals through Cytec team. Please feel free to understand the product and start thinking of the customers that you have in your own company customer list that can make benefit of these solutions. Come back to us and let's have joint polls whereby we can have this beautiful impact of increasing business to your portfolio. This is what we're looking at. We want you to make the best benefit of our solution, create a revenue stream, and start realizing proper profits out of industrial IoT before the market gets crowded. Soon enough, you will be hearing about some promos from Spectro side related to business development, related to customer tackling and order receiving. So you will receive soon some promotional materials that help you and encourage you to tackle the market as fast as we need. So by this, I'm concluded. If you need anything to tell me, I'm happy. And thank you again for your time. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And see you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you soon. Thank you, guys.